When I was a little kid, there was a movie that I was so obsessed with that I'm pretty sure I rented it about 15 times until my parents realized what I was doing and they just bought it for me, because I'm pretty sure we ended up paying like 3 times the worth in rental fees. And that movie was Bratz Rock Angelz. If you don't remember Bratz dolls, they were the ones with the really big lips and the controversially tiny outfits. As a kid, I was obsessed with pretty much anything that was based on a doll series, so Barbie or My Scene or even Trolls dolls, so Bratz was right up my alley. And I recently discovered that the Bratz movies are on YouTube right now in their entirety, and I thought it'd be really fun if I did a play-by-play review with you guys to see if this movie still holds up and if it's as good as I remember it. I promise I won't be too biased. Even though I did love these movies as a kid, I have a feeling I'm gonna be making fun of them a little bit, so let's get started. It's crazy to me that as a kid, I saw the animation and I thought it was like the top of the line, especially since when this movie came out, there were other movies that were coming out at the same time that had much better CGI. But I guess as a kid, as long as you see your favorite characters, you don't care what the animation is. But looking back at it now, it does not hold up at all. I do remember there being a lot of issues with proportions in this movie, so when it shows up, I'll point that out to you guys. So the movie starts with one of those flash forward scenes where the characters talk to us and tell us, I bet you're wondering how we got here. We see that they have a number 1 song, and clearly they've already formed their band in this flash forward.
Hey guys, it's our song! They're playing our song! We're #1! Scotchin', slammin', rockin'!
I never really understood as a kid why they did this. They like to give the characters these little sound bites where they say stuff like this, but I assume it's so when the dolls come out and they also include these little sound bites, it's grounded in the movie. This was always such a dope looking mall to me. I used to want to go here, and when there was that video game where you could actually go around their mall, I was so obsessed with that. Like, that's such a cool thing. I don't know why. Looking back, it doesn't really look like anything special, but I don't know. So it's always been hard to tell exactly how old the Bratz are, and that's always just been part of the controversy since the beginning. But in this movie, it's still hard to tell, and I feel like that's kind of important in the believability of everything. I feel like I've seen movies where these girls are in high school, so I'm gonna assume that they are still in high school.
I got the student internship, the one at Your Thing magazine. You are looking at the new assistant to Miss Berdine Maxwell, editor-in-chief.
Jade does mention a summer internship here, so we know that it's summertime, so they're in some kind of school. It would make more sense if they were in college or something, but I understand why they like to keep it vague, because I assume for little kids, college seems like a very far away kind of thing, and it might disconnect the characters from them a little bit. There's a lot of kids movies and TV shows that are based around high school, so that's probably why they do that. At least in this movie, the stuff that they do seems really unbelievable unless they are definitely not in high school. So something that's also very typical of these kind of movies based around doll series is they like to differentiate each character so that they have very distinct qualities that a little girl can identify with. I feel like that's something that really helps with kids buying dolls, because if they know that certain characters match certain things that they really like, they'll buy more of that doll. That being said, we have this very conveniently planted exposition scene here where the girls are reading their horoscopes and basically telling the audience exactly what their personalities are.
Way outgoing, a great friend to all my gal pals, and I'm gonna meet a handsome prince who will carry me off on his horse. Right, Chloe, like you touch a horse.
So we have Yasmin, the sensitive one, usually the character that's like vegetarian or does yoga. We have Chloe, the drama queen. She was also low-key the character I always identified with, probably because I was also pretty dramatic.
I think I just had an out-of-the-blue arterial explosion.
We have Sasha, the musical one, and then you have Jade, the fashion one. And again, even though they all like music and fashion and they could all be kind of dramatic and sensitive, identifying each personality for each individual is easier for little kids to identify their favorite. That's what I think, at least, and that's why I probably see it in every single girl group out there. So like any typical teen movie, we have your mean girls, and the ones in this movie are called the Tweevils because they're twins and seriously evil. And they are some of the most obnoxious characters ever made. They literally have zero depth and absolutely no redeeming qualities. They also like to call the main characters fashion freaks, but I can definitely see that being a play on the controversy that Bratz had to face with people not liking the way they dress and thinking it's too provocative for a children's doll. Also, they have this really funny way of differentiating them. One of them has a perpetual nose job band-aid on, which I think is really funny, but also really dumb. The only thing I really hate about it is the fact that every moment centered around this character's nose is ear-splittingly annoying.
My new ensemble! My new nose!
Stop it.
See the guy on the right? That's Cameron. He's kind of shy. You know, the strong, silent type. We met in 2nd grade. He's way cute and everything, but I still can't figure him out.
Here we have another moment where one of the characters is talking directly to the camera for exposition's sake, which is fine. They don't do it super consistently in this movie, but it is scattered here and there. I don't think there's anything really wrong with that. I just think it's kind of funny that in the 2D animated movie, the characters did something very similar, except they had the excuse of it being for a video project. And for this movie, they kind of just gave up on having a reason for it.
Oh my god. Oh my god, he on X Games mode.
Ha! Awesome moves, Chloe.
Thanks, Cameron. I've got a lot of cool moves.
I really want to know what the hell Chloe means by this. So I assume that Your Thing magazine is supposed to be a riff on Vogue, and this is supposed to be Jade's Devil Wears Prada moment. And then we are introduced to Jade's new boss, Berdine, who's basically just what every teen mean girl ends up graduating to be. Also, the transitions in this movie are something else. Jade gets fired within 3 hours of her job, which doesn't seem very realistic. I feel like it would make more sense if she got fired after like a week. That's something I noticed about this movie. Things happen very quickly. Jade's friends cheer her up in the most obvious teen movie way with a shopping spree. You can really see where the concerns of appropriate dressing come from here. I don't personally care at all. I've honestly always loved Bratz doll fashion. I know it's really out there, but honestly, if I could dress like a Bratz doll every single day, I absolutely would. After Jade got fired, the girls decided that the logical thing to do was just start their own magazine, which honestly I'm kind of here for it because showing young girls to take charge and create their own business is never a bad idea. I'm just not totally sure how the hell they afford all these things with all of the upfront costs of making a business.
Wait! Reality check? What about an office? No way we can afford one. I'll have to babysit every night, even on weekends. And chill, Angel. Let me work it.
All we get is Sasha saying that she'll work it, so I have no idea what that means, but I'll assume that means that her parents will pay for it, so I guess Sasha is just secretly rich. If this movie was a little bit older, I feel like it would have made sense for them to maybe start a blog that they could easily do from home or something, but this was the time when magazines were really poppin'. By the way, if you're wondering why these characters are starting a magazine and not a rock group by now, rest assured you're still watching the right movie. But we are now officially 10 minutes in, and there has not been a single word on starting a rock band. Honestly, this entire magazine concept could have just been the entire movie, and it kind of feels like that's all it is right now. So I'm totally down with the fact that the girls want to start their own magazine and go against Berdine, but it is very hard to believe that the same exact building that houses their favorite magazine also has an office in there that's affordable to them. No matter how run down it looks, that kind of looks like a prime location. Also, I probably should have realized this a lot earlier, but upon watching this movie again, I realized that Berdine and the Tweevils are supposed to look like Barbie. I don't know how I never caught that, and it's pretty cold, but I like it. So we're about 20 minutes into the movie, and no sign of the rock stars yet, but I'm holding on to hope here. In the 3 hours that Jade was working for Berdine, Berdine had her throw away a bunch of mail she said was junk, even though there were some invites in there. One is for a huge benefit concert, and the other is for an opening of a hot new club, both of which are in London. Which, two things. Having the girls go to London is a great idea so that they can have a bunch of new outfits and it would sell a ton of merchandise, and I'm pretty sure it definitely did. And two, if they go to London, the girls can actually go into a club because I'm pretty sure they allow teenagers in there. This movie also has its own Simon Cowell inspired character, which I don't know why, but I feel like there were a ton of these in the early 2000s. Also, while they're over there, this Duke character has a crush on Chloe and she starts ditching her friends for the this guy, which as a kid I was always upset at her for it because I identified with Chloe and I hated that she was basically abandoning her friends for a man. Like whatever happened to bros before hoes, or I guess hoes before bros. Also, I feel like she could have gotten around her friends being mad at her by saying that she's using the Duke for an article, but then there wouldn't be that tension between them. About 40 minutes into the movie, we get to the part where we have that big friendship breakup portion that a lot of movies have. So far the plot has been the girls create their own magazine, the girls fly to London for content, the girls are now upset at each other. What typically follows is the girls make up, there's some kind of grand conclusion, and then the movie ends. So at what point are we supposed to see them become rock stars? Also, this is the moment that I wanted to talk about their head proportions. So if you look at this clip between Duke and one of the Tweevils, the head difference here is absolutely crazy. And it's totally okay that the Bratz have their own character model and then every other side character has different models. That's fine. But they could have at least tried with their proportions because, oh my god, her head is huge. Finally, the Tweevils end up in the Bratz hotel room and they steal the tickets for the big benefit concert that they were going to go to. The girls are freaking out. They don't know what to do. So Yasmin goes over to the club to see if she can find the Simon Cowell character, Byron Powell, and see if she can get more tickets because now they're like close buds and they're gonna do an interview together. The bouncer at the club does not let her in, even though he let her in the day before with Byron, but I guess now that she's alone, she's no longer allowed in. But whatever, so she comes back and she tells the girls that they can't get in unless they are a rock band. So finally, a literal hour into this movie, we finally have them becoming rock stars. But here's my problem with it. The whole reason they become rock stars is because they can't get into this club. But why can't they contact the Byron guy? Like, as soon as she goes over to the club and doesn't find him there, she immediately gives up. And the fact that they're friends now, I don't get why she doesn't have his phone number or his email or something. I don't remember if these girls have cell phones in these movies, but there's definitely phones all over London. They have their laptops with them so they could maybe shoot him an email. It's just crazy that the title of this movie is based off the fact that they can't get into a club, despite the fact that they totally did not try to get in contact with Byron other than trying to go find him physically. It's crazy that now they finally form a rock band. Even though this entire movie has been about their magazine, it's almost like they had two ideas and they knew that if they were rock stars, they would sell a lot more dolls. I understand why they did it, but I don't know why. I thought that they became rock stars a lot earlier in this movie, and no, it's literally at the very end. It's also kind of funny that they decide to be a rock band comprised of 4 guitarists. It's totally possible that they all know how to sing and they all know how to play guitar, but usually bands have other instruments in them. Like, did none of them want to be a drummer? Did none of them want to be playing the keyboard?
Wow, you guys rock!
They finally do sneak into the venue, and the Simon Cowell character, Byron Powell, realizes that one of the headlining bands has split up and the remaining member has no one to play with. So Byron Powell pulls a Simon Cowell and decides to create a girl group. And thank God these girls actually do know how to play and actually have a song ready, because I don't know what would have happened, but luckily they all know how to sing, they all know how to play, so they get up there and they sing one of the best songs I've ever heard. Is that an over-exaggeration? Probably. But honestly, this song is a bop. Like, it's a really good song. It goes way harder than it needs to. I wish I could play more of it for you, but just look up So Good from the Bratz movie and you'll find it. Honestly, as a kid, I thought that this was like an actual band that put their song in the movie because I was like, this is way too professional to be a Bratz original song. But no, it is, and it's so good. Like, I still jam to this song to this day. It almost makes up for how shitty the movie is. Anyway, the movie ends with the girls having a bunch of stories for their magazine and now are also part of a big rock band, which once again, if they are in high school, I don't know how the hell they got all of this done in one summer. I know summers are typically 2 to 3 months long and this movie moves pretty fast, but the girls also say that they go on a world tour, so I don't know if they somehow fit that all into one summer. I feel like that takes a little longer than that. And now that they have a hit band, like, are they now millionaires? Are Are they gonna drop out? Do they even need this magazine? And again, why is this movie named after their rock band if it's only part of the story for like 13 minutes? I guess magazine Angelz or editorial Angelz doesn't really have that same ring to it. So what do I think about this movie? Is it bad? Yeah, probably. Do I love it anyway? Yeah, because it was a childhood classic for me and I loved it at the time. Sometimes things just have to stay in the past and you have to know that you loved it at one point. It doesn't really need to hold up, but I know now that it really doesn't. I definitely want to check out some of the other movies that I watched as a kid from the Bratz series. I know there are some very weird ones in there, so I definitely want to touch on those at some point. If you have a specific one in mind that you want me to cover next, you can let me know in the comments. But otherwise, thank you so much for revisiting the Bratz movie with me, you guys. If you want to see more stuff like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. I also have a Twitter and a Patreon, and I will link that down below. I will see you guys in the next one, and thank you for watching. Bye.